Hello, friends. You're listening to Armpit Intellectuals, the show where theory meets lived experience, and we try to entangle the forces shaping our most personal choices. I'm Zara.
And I am Bilal. Today, we are talking about something many South Asian families see as tradition, security, and sometimes destiny: cousin marriage.
We're not here to shame people in those marriages or deny their happiness. We're here to ask what makes this so common? Why is it so often assumed rather than chosen? And what does that tell us about how family power works? A mehndi stage lit in gold. A bride and groom, both smiling, both cousins. Aunties whisper, "Mashallah, she's from our own. She knows us." There's pride in their voices, but also a kind of relief. Nothing new has entered the system or their world. Freud described narcissism as energy or desire, what he called libido turned inward. So, essentially, narcissism is libido turned towards oneself. And in cousin marriage, that energy isn't just about one person. It's the entire family directing its affection, loyalty, and future plans back towards itself.
That's what collective narcissism means here. The group affirming itself, reinforcing its own image. It's less about romance and more about preserving a mirror of the family.
Lacan's mirror stage is about recognizing yourself in another and using that to build identity. Cousin marriage offers that same reflection. Shared childhood references, the same language, the same food. It's comfortable, but it can also be limiting, right? Because the reflection you see is just yourself. It's anything and everything you've ever known, but only what you've known. It's not something new.
Instead of building a new reality together, you're often expected to replicate the one that already exists. The same silences, the same gender roles, the same patterns that might need changing but never get questioned. A living room in Scarborough. Suitcases packed for a quote unquote trip to Pakistan. On the return flight, the young woman is wearing a ring. There was no proposal, just a series of conversations between parents while she poured tea. Ye lijiye chai. In the diaspora, cousin marriage can be about many things at once: keeping cultural traditions alive, securing immigration, or strengthening ties between relatives separated by distance.
There's practicality to it. Your cousin already knows the family's way of life, the food, the rules. On paper, it's perfect, it's seamless.
But that same familiarity can make it harder to imagine a life outside those patterns. It's not just choosing a spouse, it's recommitting to the family structure as it is.
And when the decision is made for you, even if it's framed as opportunity, so called opportunity, it's easy to mistake obligation for loyalty to your family. You're at a family dinner. Your mother jokes, "When are we announcing the engagement?" Your cousin looks down, smiling shyly. No one has asked you, but the room already assumes your answer. That's the silent yes. It's not voiced, but it's expected. And when saying no comes with guilt, tension, or outright punishment, the yes stops being voluntary. It becomes forced.
For women, this can be framed as honor, izzat, or as continuing the family's legacy. Saying no becomes an act of defiance that feels bigger than one relationship.
Consent isn't just about the ability to say yes. It's about having the safety and freedom to say no without fear of rejection or harm. And in many cousin marriage situations, that safety doesn't exist.
Two uncles in the corner at a wedding calculating aloud. If we keep it in the family, the shop stays with us. No legal transfers, no new claims. The bride and groom smile for photos, unaware or unwilling to show they've heard. Cousin marriage can also be about resources, keeping property, business, and wealth within the family.
And it can also be about containing what the family doesn't want outsiders to know. Long standing disputes, mental health struggles, even past scandals. A cousin already knows these things and isn't likely to expose them to anyone outside of the family.
Framed as tradition, it's rarely questioned, but underneath is often about protecting the family's stability as they define it, even if the stability comes at the cost of individual freedom.
Picture this, it's your wedding night. You already know half the stories your new spouse could tell you because you were there already when they happened. You've never had to ask about their family, it's your family too. That's enmeshment, when the boundaries between people are so blurred that individuality gets lost. In these setups, your spouse isn't just your partner. They're also bound to you by the same web of obligations and relationships.
It can feel like closeness, but it's different from intimacy. Closeness comes from shared history. Intimacy comes from seeing and valuing each other as separate, whole people.
And when you're enmeshed, your growth as an individual can feel like a threat to the whole system. Every change you make to exercise your autonomy makes ripples through the family. And those ripples aren't always welcome. Two family histories side by side. In one, the pattern of cousin marriage simply isn't there, but other pressures still exist. In the other, the idea of marrying a cousin is so normal it doesn't need to be said aloud. In my family, cousin marriage isn't common. I don't personally know any relatives actually who are married to their first cousin. That doesn't mean there aren't other kinds of pressure. I mean, there's a history of divorce in my family, but cousin marriage is not the default.
In my family, it's the opposite. It's an unspoken option that sits in the background until it's mentioned casually. Like it's the most natural thing in the world. Even when I was with Zara, the idea of marrying a cousin was still gently suggested. Nani's wishes were replayed.
And it wasn't until you made it clear that you had chosen differently, someone on your own, that it felt like your decision was real.
Exactly. For me, choosing outside the family wasn't just about love. It was about choosing a version of myself my family hadn't pictured. Picture this: a young couple, one from within the family, one from outside, sitting at the edge of a wedding hall, wondering if they'll ever be able to meet their choice without hurting someone they love. We're not here to say cousin marriage is always wrong. Some people choose it freely and build healthy relationships. Well, we're challenging tribalistic thinking. Well, yesterday you called him brother, today you call him G.
Well, yes, what we're questioning is when it stops being a choice, right? Like when it's forced upon you, like family guilt, obligation, pressure. and when it's the default, the safest option for the family, but not necessarily for the people getting married.
Mm. Breaking the loop doesn't have to mean rejecting your culture. It can mean widening it, making room for love to be chosen rather than assigned, to forget tribalism.
Our next episode will probably be about tribalism.
You'll never know.
And if your family truly loves you, honestly, like if your parents love you, if your family loves you, they'll survive your freedom. Maybe they won't talk to you for like a year or two, but eventually, once you have grandchildren, they'll get over it and they'll come and they'll be okay again. At least that's what I've witnessed in other relationships. This was Armpit Intellectuals, where we think deeply, share openly, and ask the hard questions.
Subscribe, share, do the thing. And remember, love works best when it's chosen, not assumed.